Hello friends, welcome back to our channel Mechanical Engineering Exams Made Simple. Today in this video let us solve or see some good questions from your TSPSC, APPSC, AMVI examination point of view. Let us mark the correct answers also, right? So here the first question. It says that which of the following is incorrect assumption as far as the working of air cycles is concerned. So is it the working fluid is assumed to behave as an ideal gas, or all the process involved except that at heat rejection or reversible process, or heat is added and rejected with external heat reservoirs, or specific heats of Cp and Cv are invariant? Here the answer is actually all the process involved except that at heat rejection or reversible process. So this is a wrong statement. Okay, so but all others are correct answers. So that's why your answer is B. Next question. If T1 is equal to temperature of air before compression, T2 is equal to temperature of air after compression, T3 is equal to temperature of air after heat addition, and T4 is equal to temperature of air after expansion, the following quantity that gives the efficiency of an Otto cycle is. So you have to solve the you have to take the temperatures, and you know that efficiency is equal to heat added minus heat rejected by heat added, that is net work done by heat added. So substituting, if you are assuming that heat temperature has given all the temperatures, so substituting QA minus QR by QA, you will get the correct answer as C. That is the correct answer. C is the correct answer. Next question. The efficiency of an Otto cycle with a compression ratio of 10 as compared to that with a compression ratio of 8 will be approximately. So you know that the efficiency of a Otto cycle is equal to 1 minus 1 by R to the power of gamma minus 1. Gamma is equal to 1.4 for air, and R has given two values. You have to calculate the efficiency for two values of compression ratio, respectively 8 and 10. If you compare that, you will get the efficiency when the compression ratio is 8 and the efficiency when the compression ratio is 10. So you will get the answer 4% higher. That is the correct answer. Okay. So please check the values and get the answer. You will get 4% higher. Now the efficiency of a diesel cycle with usual notations 1 minus ND is equal to 1 minus X into T4 minus T1 by T3 minus T2. Here the missing quantity X is. Okay, so if you solve the expression, if you assume that the temperatures at before compression T1, after compression T2, after heat addition T3, and after expansion T4, and substitute in the QA minus QR by QA, you will get something expression like 1 minus X into T4 minus T1 into T3 minus T2, but you will get X is equal to Cv by Cp. That means nothing but 1 by Cp by Cv. That is, your answer is C. Next question. Which of the following parameters as related to SI and CI engines gives an indication of the ability of them to utilize their displacement for producing power from fuel? So which is the correct quantity that describes the narration just given as above? So is it a mean effective pressure or pressure at the end of compression, or product of area and length or stroke length, or is it the torque produced at output? So what is the correct answer? Here the answer is A, mean effective pressure. This is going very important parameter. That is the answer. Correct answer is mean effective pressure. Okay. So let us mark the answer. Mean effective pressure is the correct answer. Next question. For supercharged engines, which of the following does not have any meaning at all? Actually, volumetric efficiency does not have any meaning at all for supercharged engines. So all others have some significance, that is mean effective pressure, thermal efficiency, mechanical efficiency, but not the volumetric efficiency. So your answer is D. Next question. The torque or force involved in measuring power is measured with X, while speed involved with a Y. The instruments X and Y are. So here power and speed are measured with instruments respectively is asking. Is it the combination of tachometer and dynamometer, or dynamometer and tachometer, or dynamometer and motor, or is it motor and dynamo? The correct answer here is actually B is the correct answer. So dynamometer and tachometer is the correct answer. Next question. For a small IC engine, the brake power was developed to be 50 kgf meter when it was running at a speed of 60 rpm. The nearest BHP of the engine is. So how do you get the BHP? So you can get that, okay, torque he has already given, and torque T into omega gives the power, okay. So 50 kgf you can get, so he's asking directly the answer in terms of the HP, okay. So you'll get kgf meter per second, okay. 75 kgf meter per second is equal to HP, 1 HP. So 50 into 2 pi n by 60, n is given to be 60. So substitute those values and get the power. So you'll get the answer as C. That is the answer. C is the correct answer. So please check once again the answers, okay. Please calculate, take a calculator and calculate. You will get the correct answers, all the correct answers, okay. Next, an engine has a swept volume of 350 cubic meters. If the compression ratio is 8:1, the clearance volume in cubic centimeters is. So please check the problem. So it is nothing but, what is the compression ratio? It is nothing but stroke length by clearance volume. So that means volume before compression, sorry, stroke length plus clearance, so stroke volume plus clearance volume by clearance volume. So that means the volume before the compression by volume after the compression. So substituting that, Vc plus Vs by Vc, you are going to get compression ratio is equal to, is equal to 8. Right, sorry, so if you solve that, so he has given Vc plus Vs by Vc is equal to 8. That means compression ratio is equal to 8. That means, so you have to solve the equation 1 plus Vs by Vc is equal to 8, and solving 8 Vc is equal to Vc plus 320, and you are going to get 7 Vc is equal to 320, or Vc is equal to 320 by 7. That means 45.7 centimeter cube. So your answer is 45.7. That is the answer. Next question, boys. Maximum combustion pressure in a car petrol engine is approximately will be of the order of, is it 0.6 megapascals or 6 megapascals or 60 megapascals or 0.06 megapascals? It is actually, so your answer is, it is B. So normally the pressure will be approximately, it is B, that means 0.6 megapascals. The maximum combustion pressure in a car petrol engine is approximately will be of the order of 6 megapascals. That is your answer. So such type of database questions are very important. You can get in the examination. So please have an idea of these particular values, okay. Now the function of engine speed, the fluctuation of engine speed during a cycle of operation is a function of, during a cycle of operation of the function. So here he is asking about the flywheel. So is it the function of speed and mass of the flywheel, or only mass of flywheel, or only speed of flywheel, or only mass of crankshaft? So definitely it is related to only flywheel only. So your answer is, actually it is B. So your only mass of the flywheel, is the correct answer. Let us mark the answer. Next question. The radial distance between the addendum and dedendum circle of a gear provides us with. So what is this distance? It is going to give, is it going to give the total depth, or working depth, or contact ratio, or backlash? Actually it is going to give the total depth. So the total distance between the addendum and dedendum circles, is going to give the total depth. It's not the working depth. So there is a confusion between working depth and total depth. It is not definitely contact ratio, it is not backlash, but working depth is related to some two gears, okay. But total depth is only connected with only particular depth, particular gear only. So you have to have a clear idea between the total depth and working depth, okay. That is the correct answer. So it is nothing but your total depth. Next question. In case of skew bevel gears, the pitch surfaces of rotation generated are, so what are they? So are they paraboloids, or ellipsoids, or hyperboloids, or none of the above? So what is the answer? Correct answer. It is the hyperboloids. In case of skew bevel gears, the pitch surfaces of rotation generated are hyperboloids. That is the correct answer. Next question. The gear system developed to keeping in view the use of hubs for helical and spur gears among the following is. This is a good question, boys. So such type of questions are very important. So please concentrate. So let us once again read the question. So the gear system developed keeping in view the use of hubs for helical and spur gears among the following gears. Actually hobbing is a process of manufacturing of gears, and you are shaping also another very very important generating process. These two, hobbing and shaping, are the gear generating process. So he is asking what is the gear system developed keeping in view the hobs which are used for the manufacturing of gears for helical and spur gears among the following? Is it the 14.5 composite system, or 20 degrees full depth system involute system, or 14.5 full depth involute system, or 20 degrees stub involute system? So you can easily see that bits are very very confusing. So definitely the bits are going to be very very confusing. Those who have studied thoroughly subject, okay, and have the clear cut idea about the subject only, they can answer the correct question. They can only choose the correct options. Okay, here the answer is actually A, 14.5 composite system. That is the correct answer. Okay. Next question, boys. The minimum number of teeth on pinion for avoiding interference in 14.5 composite system. That is actually compared to 20 degrees full depth system involute system. So there is actually particular table is there. So please go through that. So you will get the answer that it is 1.5 times. Okay. So if you compare those two figures, in the table, that is respectively for 14.5 composite system and 20 degrees full depth system, you will easily that one is the 1.5 times the other. So your answer is 1.5 times. That is the correct answer. Next question, boys. The 14.5 composite system of gears teeth has ease. So here there is a confusion between. So he is asking between stronger and weaker, and interchangeability and no interchangeability. So please see the bit correctly carefully. The 14-point system composite system, 14.5 degrees composite system of gear teeth has ease. Is it stronger and has interchangeability, or is it weaker and does not have interchangeability, or is it weaker but has interchangeability, or is it stronger but it does not have the interchangeability? Which is the correct answer? It is actually D. It is stronger but it does not have the interchangeability. Such type of questions are also very much confusing. So you have to identify the correct wordings, terminology. So unless you have studied the basic books for your automobile engineering by volume 1, volume 2 by Kripal Singh, and IC Engines by V Ganeshan, then only you can answer these questions thoroughly. So I made the bits in such a way that they are far above the standard of your automobile engineering for AMA examination. But definitely if you can solve these questions, you will definitely going to crack the exam without any doubt. So here, yes, we will go to 17th question. Which of the following system of gears teeth has strongest teeth among them and also can take heavy loads? So here there is a comparison between 20 degrees full depth system, 14.5 composite system, 20 degrees stub involute system, and 14.5 full depth involute system. Here the actual answer is C. So it is having the. So this is having the answer is 17th one is the C is the correct answer. That means your 20 degrees stub involute system is the correct option. You can choose that. So that is your C is the correct answer. Okay. All right. Next question. The gear teeth systems that have minimum and maximum number of teeth on pinion for avoiding interference respectively among the following are. Again there is a specific table for this. So he is going to cover. He is going to compare the various systems of gears which are having the maximum and minimum number of teeth. That means minimum number of teeth for on pinion for avoiding the interference. From the table you can easily make out that. So it is the correct answer is your D is the correct answer. That means 14.5 full depth system has maximum number of teeth, and your 14.5 degrees composite system has the minimum number of teeth on pinion for avoiding the interference. So your answer is D. Next question, boys. In compound gear trains, the intermediate shaft carries. So how many gears? Will it have only single gear, or two gears, or no such criteria, or three gears? So definitely in compound gears normally, so it is going to have two gears. So in compound gear trains, the intermediate shaft carries normally two gears. That is the correct answer. Okay. Now an epicyclic gear train is constituted by, so how many parts? Is it two parts, or four parts, or three parts, or is it none of these? Actually it is constituted by three. That is one more part is there, that one is the gear, other one is the gear, other one is the pinion, and the third part is the arm is going to be there. So that means an epicyclic gear train is going to be constituted by three parts: gear, pinion, as well as arm. That is your answer is correct answer is C. Okay, boys. So in this video, we have actually covered, we have solved a very good, important and crucial and very confusing question from your point of view examination of AMVI, APPSC and TSPSC. In another video, we are going to meet with some more good questions from your examination point of view, AMVI for TSPSC and APPSC. If you like my channel, please like, comment, subscribe and share among your groups and contacts. Once again, we are going to meet with very good number of questions, objective questions for your examination, AMVI, APPSC and TSPSC in very shortly. Once again, wish you all the best and good luck.